Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a story that is shaping the future of our world. A story of power, ambition, and rivalry between two global giants, the United States and China. This is not just history. This is happening right now. USA versus China, the relationship that will shape the future. Imagine two giants. On one side, the United States, a nation built on freedom, innovation, and global leadership. On the other side, China, an ancient civilization turned modern powerhouse, moving fast, thinking long-term. Two different systems, two different visions, one shared planet, and one question that defines the 21st century. The beginning of a complicated story. The story doesn't start with conflict. It starts with curiosity. Back in the late 1700s, American ships first reached China. They came for tea, silk, porcelain. China was powerful, self-sufficient, and uninterested in Western influence. America was young, ambitious, and hungry for trade. At that time, there was no rivalry, just business. Ideology divides the world. Everything changed in 1949. A revolution led by Mao Zedong transformed China into a communist state. Meanwhile, the United States stood firmly for capitalism and democracy. Two systems, two beliefs, two opposing visions of the world. This wasn't just politics, it was a global struggle. Welcome to the Cold War. Enemies by default. For over 2 decades, the U.S. refused to recognize communist China. China aligned with the Soviet Union. Both nations saw each other as threats. The tension was real, the fear was global, and then something unexpected happened. The handshake that shocked the world. In 1972, something historic took place. U.S. President Richard Nixon landed in China. This wasn't just a visit, it was a strategic move. America wanted to counter the Soviet Union, China wanted global recognition. The result? A new relationship was born. Not friendship, but a powerful understanding. The economic explosion. Fast forward to the 1980s. China opens its economy, factories rise, cities grow, workers flood industries, and American companies see an opportunity. Cheap labor, massive scale. Huge profits. Soon, iPhones are assembled in China. Clothes are made in Chinese factories. U.S. companies shift production overseas. China becomes the factory of the world, the trade imbalance. But there's a catch. America buys far more from China than it sells. This creates a massive trade gap. China earns billions. U.S. industries lose jobs. This imbalance becomes a political issue, and eventually, a conflict. The trade war begins. Under Donald Trump, the United States takes a bold step. Tariffs on Chinese goods. China responds immediately. Counter tariffs. This is no longer just trade. This is economic warfare. The technology battlefield. If trade was the first fight, technology is the real war. The future depends on artificial intelligence, 5G networks, advanced semiconductors, and both nations want to win. The Huawei conflict. At the center of this storm, Huawei. The U.S. claims Huawei could spy for China. It threatens national security. As a result, Huawei is banned in several countries. Global tech supply chains are disrupted. The chip war. Microchips are the brain of modern technology. The U.S. controls key chip technologies. So what does it do? Restricts China's access to advanced chips. Why? To slow down China's rise in tech dominance. This is strategic, this is calculated, and this is serious. Military tensions rise. But military tension? That's explosive. South China Sea. China claims large areas of the sea. The U.S. says, these waters must remain free. So U.S. warships sail through. China responds with military buildup. Tension increases. TY, the breaking point. The most dangerous issue of all. China says, Taiwan is part of China. The U.S. says, we support Taiwan's defense. This is a red line. A potential trigger for global conflict. Battle for global influence. This is not just about two countries. It's about the world. USA strategy, military alliances, NATO, global bases, influence in Europe and Asia. China strategy, infrastructure investments, Belt and Road Initiative, strong presence in developing nations. Two different paths, one goal, global leadership. Values versus power. At the core of this rivalry, United States, China, democracy, one-party rule, free speech, controlled media, individual freedom, state control. This is more than politics. It's a clash of systems. Cooperation still exists, despite everything. They still need each other. Climate change, both are biggest polluters, both must act. Global economy, interconnected markets, shared risks. Health crises, COVID-19 showed both cooperation and conflict. The future. There are four possible paths. 1. Cold War 2.0. Long-term rivalry without direct war. 2. Economic separation. Two separate global systems. 3. Military conflict, especially over Taiwan. 4. Managed competition. Compete but avoid destruction. Part 2. The hidden game of power, the illusion of peace. On the surface, everything looks stable. Planes are flying, goods are moving, leaders are shaking hands. But beneath that calm surface, a silent competition is unfolding. Not loud, not always visible, but incredibly powerful. This is not open war. This is strategic rivalry. And both the United States and China are playing the long game. Two different strategies. To understand this rivalry, you must understand how each country thinks. The American approach. The United States believes in speed, innovation, private companies driving growth. It trusts Silicon Valley, free markets, global alliances. America's strategy is often, move fast, lead first. The Chinese approach. China thinks differently. It focuses on long-term planning, government control, national strength above all. China's strategy is, plan decades ahead. Control everything. This difference creates tension, because they're not just competing, they're playing different games. The Belt and Road Power Move. China launches one of the most ambitious projects in history, the Belt and Road Initiative. This is not just infrastructure. This is influence. China builds roads, ports, railways, power plants across Asia, Africa, and Europe. Why it matters. Countries receiving Chinese investment become economically tied to China, politically influenced, strategically important. For the United States, this raises a serious concern. Is China reshaping the world order? The Internet divide. The Internet, once global, is now splitting. Open Internet model. Google, Facebook, YouTube, freedom of information. Controlled Internet model. China creates its own ecosystem. No Google, no Facebook, strict censorship. Instead, local platforms dominate. This creates two digital worlds. One open, one controlled, and both are expanding globally. Cyber warfare. The battlefield is no longer just land or sea, it's digital. Both countries are accused of hacking systems, stealing data, cyber espionage. Critical targets include government networks, military systems, private companies. This war is invisible, but its impact? Massive. Military modernization. China is rapidly upgrading its military. Just bigger, smarter, faster, deadlier. Key developments. Advanced missiles, aircraft carriers, cyber warfare units, space capabilities. Meanwhile, the United States still holds the edge in global bases, military alliances, advanced defense systems, but the gap is shrinking. Fast. The space race returns. Space is the next frontier, and the race is back. United States, NASA missions, private companies like SpaceX, focus on Mars and deep space. China, lunar missions, space stations, rapid advancements. This isn't just exploration, it's about dominance in space technology. Currency war. The US dollar dominates global trade, but China wants to change that. China's move, promoting the yuan, creating digital currency, reducing dependence on the dollar. Why it matters. If China succeeds, the global financial system could shift, and that would challenge American dominance. Supply chain war. COVID-19 exposed a major weakness. The world depends heavily on China for manufacturing. U.S. response, bringing industries back home, diversifying supply chains, reducing reliance on China. This process is called decoupling, and it's changing global trade forever. The talent war. The competition isn't just about resources, it's about people. Both countries are fighting to attract scientists, engineers, innovators, USA advantage, top universities, immigration opportunities, China advantage, government funding, rapid growth opportunities. Whoever wins the talent race wins the future. Flashpoints around the world, the tension is not limited to one place. It's global. Key hotspots: Taiwan, South China Sea, Indo-Pacific region. Each of these areas could trigger a major conflict, and both sides know it. Allies and partnerships. No superpower stands alone. USA allies: Japan, South Korea, NATO countries, China partners, Russia, developing nations, strategic allies through investments. This creates a global network of influence. The propaganda war. Both countries are shaping narratives. USA message: freedom, democracy, human rights. China message: stability, development, economic success. This is a battle for global perception. And perception is power. The tipping point. Every rivalry has a breaking point. The question is, when, and more importantly, where? Possible triggers: Taiwan crisis, military accident, economic collapse, cyber attack. Any one of these could change everything. A world watching. The rest of the world is not neutral. Countries are choosing sides, balancing relationships, protecting their interests. The United States and China. Part 3. Taiwan, the line that cannot be crossed, the island at the center of the storm. There is one place, small in size, massive in importance, an island that could decide the future of the world: Taiwan. Why Taiwan matters. To China, Taiwan is not just an island. It is a breakaway province, a symbol of national unity, a matter of pride. China's message is clear: Taiwan must reunify with China. But to the people of Taiwan, it is a democracy, a separate identity, a free society. And to the United States, Taiwan is a strategic partner, a key location in Asia, a symbol of democratic values. This is not just a disagreement. This is a collision of identity, power, and ideology. Strategic ambiguity. The United States follows a complex policy. It does not officially recognize Taiwan as a country, but it supports Taiwan's defense. This is called strategic ambiguity. What it means: China is unsure if the U.S. will intervene. Taiwan is unsure how far U.S. support will go. This uncertainty is intentional, because clarity could trigger war. Why Taiwan is so important globally. Taiwan is not just political, it is technological. The semiconductor powerhouse. Taiwan produces most of the world's advanced microchips. These chips power smartphones, cars, military systems, artificial intelligence. If Taiwan is disrupted, the global economy could collapse. This makes Taiwan the most strategically important island on Earth. China's military pressure. China is increasing pressure every year. Actions taken: fighter jets entering Taiwan's airspace, naval drills around the island, military exercises simulating invasion. This is not random. It is preparation. A message: we are ready. Taiwan's defense. Taiwan knows the risk, and it is preparing. Defense strategy: advanced missile systems, strong air defense, training for modern warfare. But Taiwan faces a reality. China's military is much larger, so Taiwan's strategy is make invasion too costly. The role of the United States. The United States plays a crucial role. What the U.S. does: sells weapons to Taiwan, conducts naval patrols nearby, strengthens alliances in Asia. But the biggest question remains: would the U.S. go to war for Taiwan? The answer is deliberately unclear. A possible war scenario. Let's imagine a scenario, not fantasy, a realistic possibility. Step 1. Rising tension. China increases military drills. Taiwan strengthens defenses. U.S. sends more ships. Trigger event: a military accident, a political declaration, a miscalculation. Blockade. China surrounds Taiwan, stops trade, cuts supplies, pressure surrender. U.S. response: the U.S. must decide, intervene or stay out. Global impact. Markets crash. Supply chains break. Energy prices rise. This would not be a regional war. It would be global. The world reacts. If conflict happens, the world will not stay silent. Likely responses: Japan supports the U.S. Europe imposes sanctions. EU. Russia may support China. Global alliances will activate. And suddenly, the entire world is involved. Nuclear shadow. Both nations are nuclear powers. This creates a terrifying reality. Any major conflict carries nuclear risk. But here's the paradox. Nuclear weapons prevent war, but also make it more dangerous. This balance is fragile, very fragile. Cold War 2.0, already here. Some experts believe the new Cold War has already begun. Signs: economic separation, military buildup, ideological rivalry, global competition. But unlike the past, economies are deeply connected, technology is more advanced, stakes are much higher. The future pathways, where does this go? There are three main possibilities. Controlled rivalry. No war. Constant competition. Stable but tense. Full decoupling. Separate global systems. Two economic worlds. Less cooperation. Open conflict. Military confrontation. Global crisis. Unpredictable outcome. Part 4. The economic war and the fight for global control. The war without bullets. Not all wars are fought with weapons. Some are fought with money, with trade, with influence, with control over the global system. Right now, the United States and China are locked in a different kind of battle. An economic war, the power of the dollar. One currency has ruled the world. The US dollar. Why the dollar matters. Most global trade is done in dollars. Oil is priced in dollars. Countries store reserves in dollars. This gives the United States enormous power, control over global finance. The hidden advantage. If the US imposes sanctions, countries lose access to dollar systems. Economies suffer instantly. This is not just currency, it's global influence. China's challenged the yuan. China wants to change this system. The plan: promote the Chinese yuan, build alternative financial systems, reduce dependence on the dollar. China is also developing a digital currency, digital yuan. Why this is big? If successful, countries could trade without the dollar, US influence could weaken, a new financial order could emerge. This is a direct challenge to American dominance. Manufacturing power. China didn't rise by accident. It built something powerful, the world's largest manufacturing system. What this means: fast production, low cost, massive scale. From electronics to clothing, China produces it all. Meanwhile, the United States focuses more on innovation, services, technology. This creates a dependency. And dependency is vulnerability, breaking the chain. After COVID-19, everything changed. The United States realized we depend too much on China. The response: bring factories back home, shift production to other countries, reduce reliance on Chinese supply chains. This process is called supply chain diversification. But it's not easy, because China is deeply embedded in the global system. The battle for rare resources. Modern technology depends on rare materials, key resources, rare earth metals, lithium, cobalt. China controls a large portion of these resources. Why it matters: needed for batteries, used in electronics, critical for military tech. This gives China a strategic advantage. Economic growth race. For years, China grew faster than any major economy. The big question: will China overtake the United States? Some experts say yes, others say no. Reality: China is growing fast, but facing challenges: debt, aging population. The US remains highly innovative. This race is not over, not even close. Innovation versus imitation. One major criticism from the US: China copies technology. But the reality is changing. China is now innovating in AI, leading in 5G, advancing in space tech. The gap is closing. And in some areas, China is already ahead. Economic security. Both countries now see economics as national security. USA strategy: protect key industries, restrict sensitive exports, support domestic companies. China strategy: become self-reliant, reduce foreign dependence, strengthen internal economy. This is not normal competition, period. This is strategic protection. The global South factor. Many developing countries are watching closely. They see China offering infrastructure, the US offering partnerships. These countries are choosing based on opportunity, benefit, survival. This makes them key players in the global balance. Economic pressure tactics. Both nations use pressure. USA tools, sanctions, trade restrictions, financial control. China tools, trade leverage, investment control, resource dominance. This is economic chess. Every move matters. Decoupling, reality or myth. The idea. Separate the two economies. But here's the truth. They are deeply connected. Full separation is extremely difficult. Instead, what we see is partial decoupling. Selective separation in key sectors like technology, defense, critical industries. Who has the advantage? This is the biggest question. USA strengths, strong military, global alliances, innovation leadership. China strengths, manufacturing power, long-term planning, rapid growth. The answer? Both are powerful. Both are vulnerable. The final outcome: this rivalry will not end quickly. It will define the global economy, international politics, technological future. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories like this. See you in the next video.